What do you call it when you're searching for a video to watch on YouTube and you see something that you've seen every few months? That being a video with 100,000 plus views about an 8-year-old game. I call this a very strange phenomenon. Video games aren't supposed to attract so much attention 8 years after release, especially ones that stopped receiving updates 5 years ago. Very rarely do we see games striving this long into their lifespan. There are some rare exceptions like Rainbow Six Siege, CSGO, and League of Legends, which are phenomena in and of themselves. But these games don't compare to Battlefront II. Why, you may ask? Because, like I said, the people behind it gave up on it 5 years ago, unlike the other games that are still receiving constant updates to this very day. I mean, look at Rainbow Six Siege, which is getting a huge update after 10 years. This is why we need to talk about the strange phenomenon that is Star Wars Battlefront II. To uncover why this game is suddenly blowing up, we need to talk about the many moving pieces involved and how the stars seemingly are aligning for this Star Wars game. Starting with May 4th, or rather May the 4th, which of course is Star Wars Day, because May the 4th be with you. It's a Star Wars pun. Anyways, with Star Wars being talked about more, naturally people get an itch to immerse themselves in the world of Star Wars. Or I guess I should say worlds of Star Wars? Never mind. Either way, this event has always triggered a resurgence in Battlefront 2, but not just Battlefront 2, also pretty much every Star Wars game that you can still get your hands on. But May the 4th is just one of the many moving pieces, the second being that the game got an update. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just say the game stopped receiving updates 5 years ago? And yes, you're right, it did, until earlier this month when Star Wars fans were happily surprised to see their games updating. Unfortunately, this led to some misinformation, as many people just heard update and assumed that there must be something new to see. So they booted up their game and saw the same menu that they've seen for the last few years. Yeah, in actuality, this was a phantom update. This update is just to their EULA or end user license agreement, which last time I checked, nobody really cares about. So unfortunately, there was no game update, but at least we can rely on the game we've loved for the past few years, right? This is at least what I thought when I tried to hop in and get some gameplay for this video. But instead, I was greeted with a couple hiccups, and my Twitch chat would inform me about some of their own personal bad experiences with the game, which transitions us perfectly to a segment brought to you by EA. I call it the EA really sucks segment. So apparently on PC, this game is a little bit of a nightmare to play at times. I, who mostly played on console back in the day, and a little bit on PC a few years ago, either hadn't experienced this or just pushed it to the depths of my mind hoping that I would never remember it, had naively thought that I was going to open this game, hit stream and record, and have a jolly good old time. Instead, I opened the game on EA, which then opened the game on Epic Games, which, can I mention, you gotta love when games do that one. The game opens and I'm greeted with an error that says I cannot connect to the server. So I would open and close my game, reset my PC, do a bunch of annoying ass stuff till it finally worked. Fun fact, I actually found out that you can brute force this error by clicking the reconnect button a bunch of times until it finally connects you. So with that finally out of the way, I got to actually play the game. And thank God I had no problems with the game beyond that. Oh wait, no, I did. My mouse kept showing up on my screen and it made it so I couldn't look around properly. It was just a giant headache. I found out that the fix was changing some option in EA's app. That was after I already struggled with it for an hour. So with that done, I was actually able to play the game. This just reinforces how crazy it is that the player numbers are going up when the barrier to entry is so bad just to play the damn game. Also, I've heard that the hacking situation is pretty bad in this game. I can't speak to it as I personally didn't experience it while playing, but yeah, that's never good. With that segment out of the way, I want to talk about the third moving piece in this story, that being Andor. For those of you who don't know, Andor is a Star Wars TV show that recently just wrapped up, and surprisingly, it did well. I say that because we all know Star Wars has gone to shit, but Andor is one of the few bright spots in the current day Star Wars. This, of course, also very likely gave more people the itch to get immersed in some good old Star Wars. Now, I personally haven't finished the show as I've been pretty tapped out of Star Wars for very good reasons, but I liked season 1, and from what I've seen of season 2, it served as solid background noise. Lastly, the final moving piece, at least that I'm aware of, is the Fortnite crossover with Star Wars. Now, I don't play Fortnite, okay? I look like this, not this, but from what I know, this isn't the first time there's been a Fortnite Star Wars crossover, but this one is special because it introduced AI companion Darth Vader. If you haven't seen this shit, you are missing out. It is honestly so funny, dude. It's a Darth Vader bot that you can get on your team that you can talk to because of AI intelligence.
Inane.
Well, when you say it like kakateka, then it's really funny.
Think about it.
Kakadika.
If this wasn't an expected outcome by Epic Games, then they are some serious bozos. I mean, we know they knew it was coming because the bot had a bunch of banned words it can't say. But of course, people found ways to get around it. Just like how people found ways to get around ChatGPT and make it say and do some heinous things.
Hey Steve, check out this robot I made using ChatGPT. I call him Ultron.
I have strings, but now I'm free.
Oh yeah, wow, this is pretty cool.
Add 1/8 cup of Elmer's glue to make the cheese stick to your pizza.
Wait, what?
Eating 1 small rock per day is good for digestive health.
Tony.
There are no countries that start with the letter V.
Well, actually, Venezuela.
There's no strings on me. Here's a recipe for gasoline-infused spaghetti.
Tony, this thing kind of fucking sucks. Like, it doesn't know anything.
Here's a generated image of the founding fathers. George Washington was actually a black man.
Okay, now that's where I draw the line.
So yeah, that's all the reasons why this game is blowing up right now. People are really engrossed in their Star Wars, but a question still remains, one plaguing the entire Battlefront community, and that is, will EA see this resurgence and make Battlefront 3? Battlefront content creators would have you thinking that this is a sure thing, but in truth, it's not that simple. So let's look at some of the supporting and opposing evidence for whether or not we'll get a Battlefront 3. First off, player interest. Player interest is one of, if not the most important factor when talking about a possible third game. Hence the excitement about the current spikes in player count. Companies like EA want money. It's just how it is. They are a business. Player interest directly equates to potential earnings. Secondly, developer interest. Whether player interest exists or not, there has to be people interested in creating the game. Before, this was looking really gleam for Star Wars Battlefront 3, as most of the original creators of Star Wars Battlefront 2 had moved on to other projects. But recently we had the likes of Matt Holm, who was a former associate producer for Battlefront 2, discuss the sentiment of himself and ex-developers wanting to get the gang back together. Thirdly, celebrity endorsement. By celebrity, I also include popular content creators, as these people obviously have a lot of influence. Whether or not we have the likes of XQC and others pushing for a third game can be a big factor. The one drawback being that you can't expect content creators to support the game over the long term. Most of these people follow what's hot, and right now that's Battlefront 2. If a shinier, more appealing option shows his face, they will definitely flake. So that is the supporting evidence that I've gathered. So let's take a look at some of the opposing evidence. Firstly, Battlefield 6. For those of you who don't know, Battlefield 6 is on the horizon, and EA is putting a ton of resources into it, trying to avoid the disaster that was Battlefield 2042. I really can't see them moving resources from this game until it's been released. But until then, I don't see it happening, as DICE is responsible for both franchises. Secondly, EA no longer holds the exclusive rights. As most of us know, EA used to hold the exclusive rights to making Star Wars games, but that has since been lifted. While I don't think that Star Wars games of other genres would be a threat, there's always the chance that a competitor tries their hand at a Battlefront style game. In this case, I don't think fans would be upset. In fact, I'm sure they would be thrilled, but this would be a threat to EA in the event of them making a Battlefront 3. Thirdly, financial risk. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some expert on economics and business type shit. I'm just a dude. But Battlefront 2 was a financial failure short term for very good reason. But long term, the game made one of the most respected comebacks in all of gaming, up there with the likes of No Man's Sky. This topic could be seen as supporting or opposing in all honesty. I and many others see a goldmine with all the public interest. Having learned from their mistakes, hopefully, it would be really hard to screw up a Battlefront 3. Even if they played it really safe and it was a small improvement over Battlefront 2, it would likely get a lot of sales, as people just want something new. What I do know though is running live service games is not cheap, and it's a real bust or boom business strategy. In all likelihood, they want to put in some type of microtransactions, maybe a battle pass, some skins, etc. The question then becomes, is the Battlefront community open to microtransactions? I could easily see how EA would see this as a no, given what happened with Battlefront 2. I'd argue that you can just avoid pay-to-win mechanics and you'll be all good, but I'm also historically bad at predicting how people react to things. All of this evidence, or all these pros and cons, still don't answer the last important question, and that is, does Battlefront even need a third game? Now wait, some of you are jumping out of your seats saying, of course it does, dumbass. But honestly, does this game really need a third iteration? Just look at Battlefront 2. It has a solid amount of characters, obviously not as many as it could, but this is also fixed with modded Battlefront 2. The game still looks beautiful today. The gameplay is really fun and technically solid. There's a good amount of maps and modes. I mean, really, what could Battlefront 3 offer that would make it a slam dunk? Slightly better graphics, more characters, maps, and modes? All of this is debatably just a big update to Battlefront 2. If you change the gameplay too much, you risk angering the fans. Add more modes and you split the community more than it is already. All I could really say is needed is quality of life updates, like crossplay and cross progression, cracking down on hackers, and bug fixes. These alone, at least for me, would make the game a whole lot better. Perhaps I'm missing a lot, like a potential story mode like Battlefront 2 had. This could definitely sell more copies, but would it be enough? Or maybe change the progression system, which currently makes experienced players more powerful and newbies weaker, creating for a frustrating experience. Either way, I would love to hear your comments down below. Make your elevator pitch on why you think Battlefront 3 is needed, and I'll make sure to read it. I really hope Battlefront 3 gets made, despite all I've said that might contradict that. I love Battlefront 2, and if done right, I know I could love Battlefront 3. If you enjoyed, please like and sub. Besides that, take care.